Hey everybody, final thoughts, time for Through Ice and Snow, but before I get to that, please remember this is a paid Kickstarter preview, and with that out of the way, hey! This is a very cool worker placement game, incredibly thematic. I think of everything you could say about the strengths of this game, high theme integration is right up there at the top. You really do feel the icy grip of the ice and snow just bear down on you. Everything starts out fine. There's plenty of fuel, there's plenty of food, there's plenty of all the resources you need. Morale is high, the health is good, it's easy to get more workers, and we just keep on sailing. And we keep on, having various and sundry interactions. And, we're starting to run out of food. Oh, boy, I'm really getting low on fuel. Oh my gosh, we're having to actually tear the ship apart to keep going. Oh my gosh, we've got scurvy. And people are starting to die. And, it really has a very interesting and high pressure arc. Now, it doesn't have to be that way. You can play super duper conservatively and always put the needs of your crew above all. And, forget about prestige. Forget about trying to race and be the first to leave food for later expeditions. No, I want to do that. That's one of the best ways you can score points in this game. Leaving food behind, knowing that the further you go, the more likely you are to starve. That is a rough calculus to make, and this is a game that definitely forces that because it is true to the subject matter. This is a harsh, unforgiving wilderness that we are trying to get through, and it just gets tougher and tougher and tougher towards the end. There are some paths are shorter than others. Maybe you just want to get out of here because you don't think you can survive. Maybe somebody else is better outfitted, and I need to do more exploration so I can get more points that way. There are lots of different ways to score points in this game. Building a bigger dog sled so you can do more exploration if you don't get frozen out by other players. Doing all kinds of scientific discoveries of all these new never before seen species if you don't get frozen out from doing other stuff. Just taking care of your crew and being the best at actually getting the right places at the right time to score your bonus points and make your patron happy. Oh, by the way, I didn't even mention when we get to the end of the game and we finally get to the last leg, there's basically one more turn where we need a little bit more fuel. Whoever's the leader gets more points, of course, and these extra worker placement spots that I never talked about open up. And so for that last leg of the journey, when we've made it, provided we didn't all die somewhere along the way, then we can start, if depending on player order and who can get to what first, because this is a regular worker placement, these spaces will get gobbled up fast. We can get extra points for, how much was mapped, how many upgrades did we do, how much weapons do we have on hand, how much dynamite do we have on hand. So we could be building towards those things at the end of the game as well. And then at the end of the game, there are bonus points to be had for having majorities in various things as well. That's provided we even make it. Because for some people it might be a problem that this is effectively a semi-cooperative game. And it is possible that one player's ship could be so epically badly mismanaged that they start having to get towed by everybody else. And that becomes a fuel drag on everyone else. And if that could ultimately lead to the all players running out of fuel, then boom, it's done. And nobody makes it to the end. Now, I have seen people complain about this, that there can be this spoiler effect. I've never understood it because why be that player? Why be a jerk and just ruin that? Just do your best. Always do your best. But anyway, I think this game is fairly immune to that issue if you do know somebody in your life who just likes to ruin the plans of everybody just to be a spoil sport, literally. If that ever happened to me, I don't think I'd ever play with that person again. But regardless, if you have spoil sports amongst your loved ones and friends, I don't think you have to worry about it because somebody actually literally trying to tank the game just gives everybody else huge opportunities. Everybody else just has to work a little bit harder at maintaining their fuel supplies so they can tow that player. That player continues to fall deeper and deeper into a victory point hole because the more often you're scored, you go from losing 5 to 10 to 15 points. And every time the other players tow you, they're making those same amount of points, so the delta becomes even huger. So, yeah, I don't even know if I need to bring it up because I don't think it is going to become that semi-cooperative problem. It's more a case of if everybody mismanages, if everybody gets too greedy and tries to grab as many points as they can out here at the expense of their crew and of their ship, if that's what everybody's doing, because this is a competitive game, then if everybody collapses, it's over. And in that circumstance, everybody was probably working very, very hard because they've gotten so many points for all the things they've invested in along the way. And so, again, these feel to me like very, very thematic decisions you are making throughout the game. And again, that's this game's calling card. You feel like you are making these decisions, personal glory versus personal responsibility. That's a very, very cool idea that I don't often see, and I like how it is explored in this game. I also very, very, very much like the fact that we are a unified fleet. We all have ships. We're all trying to do our best. We're all, jockeying for position in the worker placement every time we, come into a new port of call. But at the end of the day, everything we do affects everybody else because we're all in it together. If I've got an extra carpenter action, I've got nothing better to do, but I desperately need more wood, well, I can just dump some of this other stuff and get some wood, but then that leaves that other stuff lying around for you to pick up because we have a common warehouse. That when I put stuff aside to do goods conversion, which is a really common thing, the old goods are left lying around for you, my teammates, or my opponents, to go and grab. I think that's awesome. I've never seen an idea like that before. The fact that there's so much jockeying for who is the leader, so you can decide what direction we're going to go, how fast we're going to go, and all that trickles down and affects everybody as well. Because everybody burns that fuel. Everybody is suffering from that attrition at the same time. So you are never doing anything in a vacuum. And then on top of all that, the worker placement in this game is tight, tight, tight. I've seen tighter worker placement games, but not by much. There's so many of these really key, super important actions. There's only one chance per round to do it. And if you don't get there, you're going to feel pretty left out. Often, some of the events that come along are so incredibly huge and powerful. You think, of course I'm going to go do that, but nope. If I don't get that last unique species, this is my last chance to get it, I'll leave that for other people. It is surprising how often you will sacrifice one incredibly juicy worker placement action for another because you're going to get frozen out of one or the other, and you've got to make these tough choices. Plus, the worker placement is kind of fresh and different because you have so many different types of workers. You've got those three officers that basically unlock one action in the captain's column, in the carpenter's column, and the scientist column. But having the Inuit guides who introduce a lot of flexibility. Not only can they make your crew bigger so you can do more stuff at the cost of more food, so you got to factor that into your calculations, but they can often stand in for the captain or the carpenter or the scientist because they know this land better than anyone. And so that's a big thing you can focus on as well. And everything. You want to do everything in this game, and you are constantly presented from start to finish with really, really tough, restrictive choices. And again, all driven by a really strong theme, a really great sense of interconnectedness between players, which you very rarely see. And I don't think I've ever seen some of the ideas that are put on display here. And yeah, it's great. Jen and I really enjoy it quite a bit. That said, I have some complaints. As a two-player gamer, there are some things that just completely confound me. Why, in a two-player game, are there 2 copies of every ship upgrade? That means there's a lot less tension. A 4-player game, there's 2 copies of every ship upgrade. And you better believe, and they're not all created equal. Some are much better than others, and those are going to be disappear quick, and then suddenly, you slept, you snooze, you lose. You can never get the upgraded captain's quarters or the upgraded rigging or whatever it might be because they're gone. In a 2-player game, that will never happen. And it makes no sense to me that as part of setup, it doesn't say, in a 2-player game, remove 1 of each. That's so obvious. How did that not happen? Because this game is all about that vice tightening around you and constantly being afraid that somebody else is going to grab. But nope, not for ship upgrades. Ship upgrades in a 2-player game, there is no tension or fear at all. And that's just weird and an odd oversight to me. And by the same token, the developers, I can't blame them. Stefan Feld regularly makes this same mistake of, hey, at the end of the game, whoever got the most unique species, whoever built the most huts and populated them with food, gets 15 points. That's huge. It's 7 points for second place. Can I get second place in a 2-player game by only ever doing 1? Yes. Then of course I'm going to do that. And it becomes fait accompli. Can I get 7 points in a 4-player game by placing only 1? No, it's impossible. I never understand why developers don't do just that little bit of extra work to tighten up those kind of in-game, first, second, third place things. It's so easy to do. A lot of games have shown how easy it is to play, and it creates that extra level of tension that, oh yeah, if I want to get second place, I've got to do more work here. And so I was really just kind of surprised by that. I mean, the player scaling for the worker placement, I thought that was actually very well done. But it's just a few little things that honestly would be incredibly easy to house rule. I don't think I would ever play this game again as a 2-player game, having 2 of every single upgrade. It just makes no sense to me because if you imagine this in your head, you don't think of this as laissez-faire, I can do whatever I want. Everything should be so tight as, the cold is just creeping into your bones and you don't know if you're going to make it out alive. That's why I came to this game. I want to see that everywhere. I want to work hard. And in a 2-player game, there could have been just a few little things to push that to the next level. Minor complaint, because make no mistake, we really enjoyed our time with Through Ice and Snow. Actually, one more thing I did want to mention though, before I go, folks. I have to say, from what I've seen so far, I am very, very impressed by how the game handles the inclusion of Inuit people, of them as guides to help these explorers make it from one side of the board to the other. In a lot of games, they're here, but they're really just kind of window dressing. But I've not seen that to be the case in Through Ice and Snow. The event cards, a sizable portion of them really revolve around the people of this land and are interacting with them and spending time with them, cultural exchange and all the rest of it. And that comes into the gameplay as well, as you can build your crew up by bringing more guides to help you through here. And I mean, these are the most powerful workers in the game because they're so flexible, because this is their land. They know how to survive here better than anyone. I mean, these are actually the characters who can't die. They will never starve, because even if we were idiots and ran out of food, they're going to be fine. And I appreciate, again, just how smartly they're brought in. And I was also really impressed. I have a prototype here, folks. I have not seen the final version of this game, but just, as I was reading through the rulebooks, and it made clear, by the way, Inuit is plural. Inuk is singular. I'm over 50 years old. I've been aware of the word Inuit my entire life, and never once did I realize, that's a plural for the people, and I've been using it wrong my entire life. And the fact that the developers took the time to try to make that clear shows that they care. Now, what I haven't seen is my rulebook literally has like 3 blank pages at the end of it with this prototype. And I'm really, really hoping that the developers spend some time, kind of diving into the history of this world, both who the explorers are and the native peoples who are helping them, and we give an equal amount of attention to that. I think that would be absolutely fantastic. I suspect the developers did their homework, did their research. Maybe they had some consultants working with them. I'm not quite sure, but like I said, because I have a prototype right now. That's why I preface all this with, from what I've seen so far, I really think it was handled in a way that is much more engaging and respectful of the people of the Inuit peoples here than what you might have seen in other games. So I have to doff my cap to the developers there too. Okay, actually, hold on. Before I go, I'm going to interrupt my interruption to say it's a few days later, and I actually contacted the publisher. They got in touch with me and told me a little bit about the work and the time and the effort that they have put into getting this subject matter right. They are collaborating with the Inuit Heritage Fund in Baffin Island, which was an island on the map, and Dr. Karen Ryan and the Canadian Museum of History and cultural advisors / knowledge holders or elders from the Nunavut Inuit communities who are literally being paid for their time. That's how you do it, board game industry. Hats off to publisher Two Tomatoes. My gosh, the amount of work they have done, not only on the design, but on respectfully and accurately bringing this history to life and involving the people who are touched by it even today. Absolutely amazing. I was already jonesing for this game, but I'm even more excited about it now, folks. And that was it. That's the preview for Through Ice and Snow. You can hit that eye in the top right corner screen to go check out the Kickstarter page. But otherwise, folks, have a very, very nice day. Talk to you later. So long. Bye-bye.